So again, I'm just going to go back to my timeline, and I'm just going to grab the workspace area. You can see there's another marker up here, so I'm just going to drag that and snap it to that marker. I'm going to drag the first one and again snap it to that marker. So now I've kind of set my next part, which is this part with the robot, the pitch for mission 2110. So that's now selected. So again, I can go back to export. I'm now going to use the Control M key to bring up the media export dialog directly rather than go to the menu. And notice that, you know, it'll always kind of default back to this. It doesn't automatically remember you want match sequence settings. It always defaults back to the, you know, whatever was the last encoding system. So again, match sequence settings. It always will change this back to the name of the edit, because obviously that's the overall name of your edit. So each time it'll offer that as the name, which is, you know, which is fine, because typically you want your edit sequence to be named that way. So again, I'm going to have to select this, and I'm going to have to change the name and make it part 2. So rather than type it in here, I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to come down here and change it to part 2. So all I've done is I've clicked on this, which has forced that name into the field dialog, the field name dialog, and then I've changed it to part 2 so I don't accidentally overwrite part 1. And again, save that. So now I've got part 2 set. Notice down here on the source range that it's moved along a bit, and this is obviously, you can now see that I've moved along in time, and I'm now outputting the second part of the work area that I've chosen. So again, this tells you that you're outputting only a section of your edit, which is exactly what I want. So again, I'm just going to go export, and this will now export out the part 2 clip. Okay, so now that's done. Now, rather than have you sit through me doing this repeatedly until I've got all the clips out, like watching paint dry, I'm going to pause the recording and I'll output all the other clips, and then we'll start up with a new Premiere editing project. We've jumped forward in time now, so this is the last clip on the timeline that I've marked with the workspace area, which is the final rollout with outcasts with a dip to black. So let's put this one out. Match sequence settings, change the name. Now you'll see all the other ones I've output. We're up to 12, so this will be part 13. And again, work area, you can see we're right at the end of the timeline now, so this is the bit I'm after. So we'll just export that. And this basically will allow us to go into a new clean edit. So effectively what we've done by doing this is we've gone from like over 600 media clips that were being loaded into the previous edit, and we've now gone down to 13 media clips. And the net result of that will be a much faster load time for Premiere. Also, once it's loaded, it won't have to spend a significant amount of time basically loading in those 600 clips before you can really start working efficiently. So we're kind of done with this edit. We have on disk, we now have all our media clips, as you can see here. Don't worry about these are what are called .xmp files. They're basically written at the same time as the clip's written, and it's a thing called a metadata file that stores additional information that Premiere can use if it needs to, but you don't have to worry about that. So you can see, if we switch to this view, all the different clips we've got, all 13 of them, in the PreEdit directory. So this is what I want to load into my new edit so I can start. So let's do that. So we're done with this edit, so I don't need to save it. I'm just going to go now. This will be off screen, but I'm going to go to new and then project. I'm not going to save this because all I did was load it up. Well, I can save if I want, because obviously I've put markers on it. So let's just go, yeah, I'll save that. And that will save the markers I've put on the timeline that wasn't there before. So I've now got a whole new Premiere project which I want to set up. So I want to make sure I'm in the right place or location. Now this is a new edit. So this is for 2013. So I'm probably in the wrong place, which I am. As you can see, I'm in 2012. So I really kind of want to make sure that I'm going to, basically be in the 2013 folder for this. So whenever I make a Premiere project, it's going to go into this one, which is Alan Showreel 2013. So that's basically that one, so I need to select that and go select folder. I don't want to go down in, because if I go down in, then basically what happens is it's going to select history. So let's make sure we're in the right place. So I've selected it. It says Alan Sherrill 2013 folder, and that's the name there. So let's do that. And so we can see that here. So it's showing me where it's going to go. So it's correct. It's in Premiere Alan Sherrill. So I'm now going to give it a name, which is going to be the same, Alan Sherrill 2013. I'm going to check my scratch disk. It's always a good thing to do. These are set from previously. The overall project name is called Showreel 2011, so I've kept adding to this project over the years. So I've got 2012 and then 2013, so I'm not going to change any of that. Any captured video, which I'm not going to be doing, will go into capture, and audio into audio capture. And then these ones I've actually set up myself. You don't have to do this. Typically you'll have this set to same as project. That's the best option. I've put in a specific preview directory for myself, so that's what I've done in this case. But this is going to be the name of my Premiere Pro project, and I'm actually going to add a version 1 to the end of it, just in case I have to version up, which is usually a good idea. I'm just going to go OK. So that's now created the project on disk, and now I need to set the format that I'm going to be editing in. Now this will be different for yourself. If you've got a different device, you'll probably, if you've got like a Canon XF camera, you'll be using one of these up here, but this project was started using XD Cam 720p codec, so I happen to know that, so that's what I'm going to be using for this. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to call my edit Alan Showreel 2013. So this is going to be my new edit, and I'm going to go OK. So this is now a brand new Premiere project, and into this I'm going to bring the clips that I've just exported from the old edit, and I'm also going to bring in the new stuff, the new clips that I want to work with. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to bring in the footage. Now I can make a bin, or I can just bring it in. I happen to know that some of this footage is already in a folder. We know in the case of the clips we just exported, we put them into a folder. So let's go import, and let's go find the clips. They were under edit, Premiere, and we made this directory called PreEdit. So rather than go into this directory and select these individual clips, I'm just going to go to the directory above, make sure the PreEdit directory is selected, and go import folder. And what that will do is it'll bring in the entire contents of the folder. Now this error message, don't worry about it. This is Premiere attempting to bring in the XMP files you saw. It doesn't actually know what to do with them. It's safe to just completely ignore this, so I'm just going to go OK. So if we now look in the PreEdit directory, here are the 13 clips that were exported from the previous edit, ready to go. And what I can do is, to recreate that edit, I can simply put all of these clips out onto the timeline. Now you can do that individually, or you can actually just do it in one go just by shift selecting them like that, and I can actually just bring them out. And as you can see, Premiere does a nice thing, it just puts them all together one after the other by default. So if you happen to know this is the order you want them in, then Premiere will let you do that. So literally I've just recreated my complete edit from the previous one just by dragging it out of that bin. So that's now the old edit. I want to bring in my new material so I can start working with it. So again, back to import, and now I need to find the output. So I happen to know that's going to be in footage, because obviously this is new footage that's not been used before. So I'm going to navigate up to the root of the showreel directory and go into footage, and I put anything that's HD goes into HD masters, so I've got in there, and you'll see there's a directory called Bloody Tales 2, and each of these are subdirectories basically with clips in. So these are kind of all the different MOVs from the Bloody Tales 2 project. So what I'm going to do is, rather than bring them in all individually, I'm actually going to bring in the whole folder at the top level, and this will look down inside here and just grab everything. Now I could bring, if I do that, then basically what will happen is they'll all come into one big folder on their own. If I do want to kind of keep them separated so I know which program they were from, like you can see they're called Borgia and Marcian, Tiberius, these are the different episodes of Bloody Tales, then I can just simply go to this level and go import folder, and then that comes in, and inside there are just the clips to do with the episode on the Borgias. So again, import upper level, bring in Gilder A. Now he actually has a kind of subfolder with a load of stuff in, but I'm just going to bring that in, and the subfolder will get merged in. So what Premiere will do is it'll look in here and find a load of clips, and it'll actually find another folder, and it won't keep that structure as a bin. It'll literally take whatever's in this folder and add it to all of these. So if I go back and just go import folder, we'll now get a folder called Gilder A, and everything underneath that will now be just as clips. So you can see that's all of the Gilder A material. And then Marcian, and Tiberius, and finally Witch's episode. Okay, so we now have all of our material in. So we have all our new material here, which has not been used before, in footage folders, and our new showreel edit. And that current showreel edit is an exact copy of the old reel. So if I now save this, just so we know where we're at, so I'm just going to go, you won't be able to see the save dialog, it'll be off the screen to the left, but I'm hitting save now, so the project's saved. I'm going to quit out and rerun Premiere just to show you the difference now. So I'm going to exit, and we're now out, so I'm now going to go back up, and I'm going to go down and find the 2013 edit, and there it is. So Alan Showreel 2013 V1. I'm going to double click on that, and this will obviously launch Premiere again. And the reason I'm doing this is I just want to show you how quickly Premiere now loads, because instead of having to load over 600 media files plus the new ones if I'd added it to that old project, what it's now doing is it's now loading only 13 clips plus the new clips that I basically now wish to start working with. So here we go, and if you look down the bottom, it's pretty much said 53 clips remaining, so 46. These are all the new clips, and it's done. It says all media now loaded. That is obviously significantly quicker than the previous edit, simply because this edit here is now 13 clips, whereas before that edit was sourcing over 600 clips. So big difference, and basically it will make a lot of difference to your workflow. You can basically work on your project in acts, or if it's a drama, it might work on acts or parts. When you're happy with each part, you export it as a single clip, and then you bring that clip into a new edit as a reference while you work on the next section of your program. Now I'm going to be working in a slightly different way for my show reel, because obviously, you know, I'm making a new updated reel. So I'm actually going to be going into this old edit, which is now a series of 13 clips, and I'm going to be finding cut points and hacking holes in this, and then I'm going to be dropping in the new material that's not been used before. So slightly different workflow that you might use, say, if you're working on a drama or a documentary or something, which is a much more long form. But that's the technique. Basically, you are referencing the old edits, not old edits, but you're referencing each part of your previous edit, so that you can then carry on and work on the next part of the program and get a cut on it while keeping the resource uses on your machine quite low and manageable. I hope that makes sense, and hope it gives you an idea of kind of a handy workflow when working with projects that have large amounts of media. Take care for now.